Ozark Seasons Ranked Video. It's been more than a few weeks since we witnessed the series finale of Ozark, at least for the time being. I believe in some way, shape, or form that this show or a spin-off of this show will return at some point down the road, maybe 3 to 5 years, possibly. I think there's a good chance of it. But for now, we're at a series finale, so I'm going to rank all the seasons of Ozark, which I believe all these seasons of Ozark are good quality seasons. Now, I know there's some people that are unhappy with the way the show ended. That's your opinion, but I still think it was a quality season despite the ending of the show. And I have no notes in front of me. I'm doing this all from memory. So, and it's possible my information could be a little scrambled as I haven't watched season 1 or season 2 since before season 3 came out. So I didn't have time to rewatch everything just to refresh my memory. So if I get some facts scrambled, I apologize. But I think I'll do pretty good because I'll just not touch on something if I don't know exactly factual information. So, of course, this goes without saying, but if you're not caught up to the point where I am and rewatching or watching Ozark, which is every episode of the series, then I highly suggest that you don't watch this video to avoid any potential spoilers. So let's kick off my ranking of all the great seasons of Ozark. The season that I picked to be in 4th place would be season 2. Season 2 is still a great season. It has the conclusion of, I think, the biggest villain in Ozark, and that would be Agent Petty. Yes, I think Petty, even though he's an FBI agent, I think he's the biggest villain in Ozark. He's the character I essentially hated the most. Well, actually, he's one of 2 characters that I hated the most now that I think about things. It starts off after the craziness of the end of season 1, where, you have Darlene Snell killing Dell, and then you have Mason potentially drowning the baby, but then he baptizes it essentially and lets it live. So that was crazy in a sense. But the season, it's about Petty a lot. You have Helen introduced as the cartel's lawyer, and she's a really good character. You have a scene where Ruth gets waterboarded. You have Buddy. We say goodbye to Buddy in season 2 of Ozark, and he's definitely one of my favorite characters of this show. And I knew the premise behind his character. We'll sell you this house and you'll get it for a big discounted price. But this old guy that's kind of annoying, he's going to live here, but he's going to die soon because he has some form of cancer. So once he dies, you get the house. I thought that would play out where he wouldn't die for a long time and they'd still have to put up with him. But they became really close friends, and like everybody liked Buddy. And then, unfortunately, he was taken from us in season 2, episode 5. Well, I guess it goes into episode 6, but it was unfortunate. I really like Buddy as a character. I think the reason why I picked this season to be in last place is because we didn't get a really crazy thing to happen at the end of the season. I mean, you had Ruth's father, Cade, get killed. You had Petty get killed by Cade. But there wasn't anything super crazy that happened in season 1, that happened in season 2, that happens in season 3, and then the craziness of the mid-season finale of season 4, and then sort of crazy finale of the series. You had Petty make Rachel turn into an addict, which that's why I think that Petty is one of the biggest villains on Ozark, and you have Darlene get tired of her husband Jacob and kill him as well. Is that his name, Jacob Snell? I think so. Now I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure that was his name. So I think I touched on everything. Obviously you have Marty and Wendy, you have Charlotte and Jonah, you have Ruth, who was an awesome character managing the club. Marty, doing things at the Blue Cat in the club, lickety splits. But all in all, I do like season 2. I just think that there's not that one clear, crazy moment at the end of the season that separates it from the other 3 seasons. So that's why I picked season 2 to come in 4th place. Coming in 3rd place, I'm going to go with the newest season of Ozark. Again, I like all these seasons. They're all good seasons. It's not Breaking Bad, but it's a step below Breaking Bad, and that would be season 4. Season 4, I think, had too many episodes, and there were some episodes towards the end of the series that were kind of slow, like episode 12 and 13-ish. Well, maybe just 12. They could have done without some of these episodes. I think there was a lot of politicking involved with like different politicians that they had to talk to, which you didn't really have the first season, and I just found that stuff annoying. I guess that was more of a thing in season 3, but I didn't really like watching that stuff because it really didn't do anything with the story. Well, in my opinion, you had the crazy mid-season finale of Javi, who's barely featured on the show, kill Darlene Snell, who I think is the other major villain in this show, and then he, for no reason at all, kills Wyatt just because, and that was shocking because I didn't think Wyatt would die in the show. So there's that. You have Marty and Wendy being as confident as all hell, being the villain. You have the return of Rachel. Thank fucking God. I was going to be so mad if Rachel didn't come back, and that was in the second half of the season. You have Navarro being double-crossed by Maya and put in jail by the FBI. You have Javi get killed by Ruth, which I guess we saw coming, but I didn't see it coming the very next episode when they came back from their minor break. You have Ruth dying in the end, which I guess is something that we thought would happen, but I thought Ruth had become so successful that she didn't need to die, and I thought for sure that Wendy would be the one that dies. We get a scene with Ben coming back, just more of what happened at the restaurant and more of what happened with Nelson, which I was on record saying that Ben, there's no way that character is dead. And, well, I was proven wrong. Just because we didn't see him die in season 3, I thought for sure Nelson had talked to their therapist, and maybe she got to him before he killed her. And maybe he's like, I don't want to kill these people that don't really deserve to die. But in the end, Ben was killed by Nelson. And then Nelson dies by Rachel, which I didn't see coming. I'm trying to remember the other things that happened. We saw Tuck return briefly. That was cool to get a kind of a character that was in the first 2 seasons of Ozark, mainly the first season of Ozark. I really thought Charlotte was going to do a lot of things in this season because Ruth was going to be against the Byrds because of what Wendy did to Ben, and Charlotte was kind of a non-factor. We have another villain, Javi, that was kind of there for a couple episodes and then killed, very similar to what happened to Dell in season 1. Again, you have Wendy being evil and then orchestrating this plan where she's going to end up in some mental hospital to get her kids back. You had her father, who was creepy as heck, Nathan. You have Jonah working for Ruth. Ruth owns the motel. The end of Ozark, you have Camilla finding out that Ruth killed Javi thanks to Claire. And then she tells the Byrds, you're friends with this woman. I don't want you to talk to her. I don't want you to make eye contact with her. I don't want you to do anything. Otherwise, I'll kill your kids and you too. And they couldn't do anything to save Byrd. I think Marty legitimately was very he wanted to do something because I think Marty really liked Ruth in the end, but there was nothing he could do unless he wanted to sacrifice himself and or his kids and Wendy possibly. So that's unfortunate that Ruth did die. And then the ending of the show, you have Mel Satin show up at the Byrds' residence with the goat cookie jar, and he knows that Ben's remains or his ashes are in the cookie jar. And then you have Jonah with a shotgun, and it fades to black, and you hear the shot, but you don't hear anything like, fall down. You don't hear the jar break. So does he kill Mel or not? That's why I think at some point this show is going to come back. Maybe he just fired a warning shot or something like that. It doesn't make sense for Jonah to just kill this guy. I think he could have easily been negotiable. Well, he said that you guys don't get to, you don't get to get away with things, but I think he could have been talked down to something like that. But in the end, I'm trying to remember more things that happened in the beginning of this season. I just can't. But, obviously they come back from Mexico. You get right after what happens after Helen dies at the end of season 3, which was crazy. And then that's just a lot of dealing with that. But I like the second half, except for the finale. I'm not overly happy with. I think there should have been a lot more craziness, and it was kind of tame. But all in all, I do like season 4. I like that Rachel returned. I like some of the events that happened. The craziness that happened with Darlene and Wyatt. I thought Darlene would die, obviously, but I didn't think it would happen right then and there. And that was quite shocking. So that's why I picked season 4 to be my number 3. Number 2 was actually very hard. I wanted to flip-flop back and forth, back and forth. In the end, my number 2, again, another great season of Ozark, I picked season 3. Because I felt like a lot of season 3 was filler until the end. You had Ben introduced, who was great as a character, a good portrayal of somebody that has bipolar, and he did really good. We liked him as a character, and were very upset when we were led to believe that he was dead. The politicking, getting these positions, getting this funding happens in this season a lot. It's okay. It's just something that bothers me. The end of the season, that's the big thing. The crazy. A lot of people didn't see Helen's death coming. I saw it coming, but there's a point where I'm like, well, it can't happen now. There's 30 seconds left in the I didn't think it was gonna. I did not think it was gonna happen right then and there when they got to Mexico. Navarro comes out and then Nelson pulls the trigger. Did not think that was going to happen. I actually thought that Jonah was going to be the one that killed Helen. It would make perfect sense. So the stuff with, Ruth and Ben was great. With Frank Cosgrove Jr. beating the shit out of Ruth, that was really crazy. The finale of season 3, where Darlene shoots Frank Cosgrove Jr.'s his stuff, shoots him right there in the private area. Wow, do not fuck with Darlene. That woman is crazy. Holy shit. She is definitely a villain. I think her and Petty are the biggest villains in Ozark. I really do think that. So that was a lot of craziness. I just think the whole Missouri Belle thing, I didn't really like it as much. It kind of took away. I liked the stuff more at Lickety Splits and the Blue Cat, surprisingly enough. I don't know, just me, but I still love the season. You get a little bit of Sam here and there. He developed a gambling problem of sorts. He fell in love with the stripper, and then due to his issues with gambling, she didn't really want to go any further with that after he proposed. You have the FBI being placed in the Missouri Belle, Maya, who was an okay character. I thought she kind of was less focused on in the second half of season 4. Where was it? The second half of season 4, she was really kind of a non-factor, which is kind of surprising. But all in all, it was a great season, and it could have easily been my number 1, but I just didn't want to choose that. I'm trying to remember more stuff that happened in the beginning of the season, and I'm just kind of drawing a blank right now at the moment. But that's why, with the end of the season, with Helen being shot, and then boom, season over, Helen dead. Holy crap, that was crazy. So that's why I chose season 3 to be my number 2. And then, of course, my favorite season of Ozark. And again, this was a tough decision, but I'm going to go with season 1 of Ozark. I think the show started off really good with Del, who I think was the coolest villain on the show. Well, in terms of like charisma, and like you wanted to see more of him because he wasn't really that mean at times, but he was executing people that were involved with this money laundering of Marty's partner, which I'm not remembering his name right now. That's me not watching the first 2 seasons. Although was he in season 4 at the beginning? I think he was, or was it season 3? Flashbacks of him, and I can't remember his name. But those guys being executed, the people involved with that being executed, and then we're left with Marty. And Marty has to come up with this plan all of a sudden to get this guy not to execute him. So he tells him about this way that he can launder money in the Ozarks and make him a fortune, and he agrees. So he has to go down to the Ozarks, move from Chicago, and bring his whole family to do this. And you get obviously introduced to great characters like Rachel. You get the Langmores. Cade's in prison, but you get Russ, you get Boyd, You're introduced to Wyatt in 3. They're not that much of a factor, but, Russ, I thought Russ was a really good character. His relationship with Agent Petty, they really liked each other, but Petty was also using him as a pawn to try to get information on Marty Byrde and get Marty Byrde to confess to things. Ruth, she was going to try to kill Marty, and then she changed it to kill, Boyd and Russ. That was really crazy. Charlotte and Jonah finding out what their father does, and eventually their mother kind of does the same thing. And then, of course, the finale of the season with, Del at the Snell's place, and he's like, only Marty Byrde could, get me to, talk me into doing business with some rednecks. And Darlene, of course, did not like that idea. And she just shoots the crap out of Del. And that was a jump scare like you wouldn't believe. And I did not see that coming at all. And then, of course, Jacob, God damn it, Darlene. And, he called me a redneck. She didn't care after that. And then, of course, the scene where Mason takes the baby out to the lake and puts it in the water, and you think he's just going to drown the baby. And I think that was actually his intention, but then he changed his mind and essentially baptized it. So, all in all, I'm not going into too much details about things. I'm trying to remember other moments that happened. It's unfortunate that we had to lose Russ, because I thought he was actually a good character on the show. And I think, if memory serves me, we saw him in every season, hallucinations and dream sequences, but he was in every season for a little bit here and there. So he was a good character, and I thought his his dealings his dealings with Ruth and his dealings with Petty were pretty interesting. So that's really all I got to say. We, of course, were introduced to Buddy in season 1, and I liked where, they met him, and he was talking about Charlotte. He's like, don't you get those period plugs stuck in the septum tank or whatever he said. It was fucking hilarious. That character made me laugh a lot in the show for the short amount of time that he was on the show. I really enjoyed him. But all in all, the end of the season with Del being killed out of nowhere, and Marty's like, God damn it, Darlene, what the fuck? You know what you just did? And then, of course, they kill their henchman, Ash, at the beginning of season 2 because somebody spots who he is when he's trying to make it look like Del used his card or whatever in a different state. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about it. Season 1 is the best season. Now, if I rewatch everything, I might change my opinion. I might remember more stuff about other seasons that make them better or worse. But I think this is a pretty solid list. I think Season 2 is definitely my least favorite, if I have to have a least favorite. And I think Season 4 is definitely my third. It's just 1 and 3 are... I have to remember more about Season 3. And I think maybe there's something I'm forgetting about, because a lot of it was focused on Ben and then stalling till the end, I thought, with a few things here and there that happened. But 2 actually had a lot of moments too, with different character deaths that were not major characters, but kind of middle tier characters. But it is what it is. It's a great show. I'm not super angry about how it ended, but I certainly think it kind of ended like all of a sudden and like nothing really happened, where I thought Wendy Byrde certainly had to die, but she didn't. She's still alive, surprisingly enough. So that's my ranking again, going in order from least favorite to favorite. 2, 4, 3, 1. So what's your opinion of Ozark? What do you rank these seasons? If you're a fan of Ozark, obviously, make sure you smash that like button. Share this video with whomever you want to share it with, or if you want to put it on any of your social media platforms, please do so. Like I said, leave a comment with your ranking of Ozark in the comments section. If you want to tell me your favorite characters, talk about episodes you really like. Obviously, the end of Season 3 was really good. The end of Season 1 was really good. The mid-season finale of Season 4 was really good. And the finale had its moments. So it certainly was a good show. It's not Breaking Bad, but it's close to Breaking Bad in some of the quality that they have. And of course, last but certainly not least, if you're a fan of the channel, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel. You're watching the video anyway. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return. And hopefully, Ozark, some year, will also return.